Wisdom Wednesday. Mr. Washington, brother, or should I say Mayor Washington? Because if you go to the Parks Main Street community, um, your impact, brother, is seen in so many places, brother. We walked into a cleaners, and the cleaner owner said, "Brother Wu, Mr. Wu, right?
Kim.
Kim
Kim.
Wu, right?
Kim.
Last name
It's Boosum Kim.
Busum Kim.
Boosum Kim.
See, you know him by name.
Yeah,
He
yeah.
knew you by name also.
Yeah,
So for the
yeah.
few people who don't know you and your impact, let's start there.
Well, I'm Edwin Washington, Executive Director of the Parks Main Street, a program that's been around now. We're now in our 7th program year, but the key part is it's the first year with the Greater Washington Urban League.
Wow.
And
Okay.
that has expanded the way in which we're able to help businesses. But I got to tell you, you mentioned earlier about folks knowing me. That was not without some trial and error.
Okay. Well, nothing worthwhile comes easy. So
Yeah,
let's unpack that. What?
yeah,
How did you
yeah.
become that where your impact is beyond your name? Because they talked about not just your name, they talked about what you do.
Well, part of it, Tate, is consistency.
Okay.
You know, with the role that I play in the community, in particular with the small businesses, is consistency,
Mm-hmm.
it's honesty, it's integrity, but it is just showing up, making
Showing
sure that
up.
showing up and listening and hearing, not just trying to push an agenda that I have or the city has in particular. Though, yeah, there are objectives in what we do in terms of results, ROI, or return on investment. But we do look to tailor this as much as we can to each one of those businesses.
Got it. Showing up and to tailor it to each. Now, talk about the service that you tailor to each of these businesses. I mean, this is a unprecedented time when it comes to businesses having the National Guard out front of them with machine guns and people afraid to come to work. So, how are you navigating what businesses really need now in this uncertainty of time that we're in with business?
Well, visually, if you look at the impact, it's mainly in downtown, the
Okay.
downtown area. Okay, but I'm saying visually.
Uh-huh.
Cerebrally, and the actual impact is far greater than that, because in businesses that are uptown, I mean, our program is in Upper Northeast, Upper Northwest.
Okay, that's a community.
That's right. That's
Okay,
community. Briggs
okay.
Park and Manor Park. But they have relatives.
Mm-hmm.
They have others who have been impacted by this. And I was talking with one of the owners, and she was saying that, yeah, I mean, I had to shut down a little early because some of my folks just weren't coming in. It was more them being concerned. And then deliveries, getting some of the food delivered in this days and time has been tough.
Wow. So she shut down her business early because of the impact going on. Now, see, there are a lot of businesses who think about, well, if I'm not in the downtown parts of the city, I'm really not in business. But you have found a niche in supporting local businesses. Can you talk about that? Because that's a sweet spot that a lot of times people overlook, being locally and providing a service to those who live maybe in walking distance of your brick and mortar.
Well, I tell you, it is important that there's funding for this kind of thing. And the Department of Small Local Business Development, the Deputy Mayor's Office of Planning and Economic Development, they have developed programs and grants to be able to help small businesses. And with the Main Street system, the program, which there are 28 around the city in designated corridors, and we're able to help those businesses that are located within those boundaries, brick and mortar. And we do that through grants, as we've talked about previously, small business technical assistance, similar to what the kind of things we're doing with the Show Us What You Love campaign, which is marketing, which is helping with social media, which is helping with telling what's key nowadays, and has been for some time, Tate, is storytelling.
Storytelling. Now, the Main Street, the Park Main Street is a part of a national movement to support local businesses. Can you give us some insight for those people who might be watching this who may not be in DC or in the Parks Main Street? Can we start, how do they connect to you, but how do they connect up to a Main Street that might be in Iowa or in New York City? Because they're all over the place, right?
There are, and it's more than just a notion. I mean, in my 7 program years of being the founding executive director of the Parks Main Street, this is a movement. And I found, even though this grew out of the rural setting, and thus the name Main Street, because every small town has a main street where most of their economic development has come. And now taking that and then layering it on top of inner city, if you will, urban, if you will, or residential areas. Our main street is mainly in residential areas. In the Riggs Park area and Manor Park is residential. One block in Manor Park, but it's business. But it's residential, schools around, big fields. In the Riggs Park area, there's still some development to be taking place there. It's in a residential area, but there are several vacant retail spots there. So that's another part of what the Main Street does. We do help to do what we can to work to fill those spots, working with developers. We get ahead of this a lot of time, working with the local community, the Citizens Association, the other assets in the community, the library, other nonprofits, like in our case, like a Food of Friends, and some of the businesses in particular. They take this very seriously.
So you're a hub. Hey, welcome. So you're a hub, and that hub connects, if I'm hearing you correctly, you don't only connect that business owner to their ideal customers, but you also connected them to the resources. Like you said, the library, and you said, other agencies, etc. Can you give us an understanding of why it's important for business owners to really be connected to the community and not just be sitting around waiting for that customer to walk in the door? Why is that integration into the community important?
It is important, and the Main Street National Movement system. You mentioned how one could connect up through the Main Street, the park's Main Street, but there are 28 total, 27 all over the city. In D.C., with the commitment from this mayor, is one of the largest in terms of funding that's provided to a Main Street. That in Boston, the mayor of Boston, she made an impact at the Main Street Conference a couple of years ago, where she went out and she went on stage and talked about how their commitment, and that seemed to trickle down toward D.C. Mayor Bowles had always been committed, but through the city council and stuff, they've supported and provided more funding. Now, the impact that it has when you're looking at this current climate, where businesses are being challenged to be able to get revenue, and even more so getting people inside the doors, and that's what's happened downtown. And it's kind of layered itself on what's happening outside of the downtown area in the upper northeast and upper northwest. So there are challenges that are felt by all. The businesses need the support that we provide, the additional support and resources that we provide through now being a program of Greater Washington Urban League, with the resources, the brand recognition, and the kind of grassroots support that the league provides, that it goes far beyond entrepreneurship or business, because all the things that we do in terms of housing, scholarship, Black Fatherhood Initiative, all of these things are still impact and touch these businesses in a personal way that's not related to their business, but it impacts their psychic and their ability to focus and have other sources to be able to do their business.
So those resources, the connection directly to the community, not just to your ideal business customer, but the community in the whole, and being that liaison in making that community hub work. You said something about money also too. A lot of times people don't know about the grant opportunities. Do you mind sharing a little bit insight? What are they? How could people may find, see they qualify?
Yeah, absolutely. Well, first, the qualifier is the business must be located within a designated commercial corridor. For us, it's in the Riggs Park and Manor Park area. Also, it straddles upon Lamar and Riggs, Fort Totten. Even though we're not in North Michigan, we do draw a lot of folks that come from North Michigan Park up to the area. But the key thing in all of this is, and our vision statement is, where businesses know their neighbors.
Businesses know their neighbors.
And neighbors know their businesses.
And neighbors know their businesses.
So what that says, Tate, is that it's important for the businesses to make sure that what they're offering does provide impact to the community, and the community also has to see that that business is concerned and making sure that they do tailor things for the community. Yeah.
Now, this past week, our beloved mayor here in Washington, D.C., has been just elevating this program called Art or Night. So if you haven't heard about Art or Night, Oh my God, you missed it. But he's been going on for 5 years.
Well, for the Main Street, for the Parks Main Street, this was our fifth year doing Art All Night. Art All Night actually was originated in Paris.
Okay.
And one of the founding Main Street programs, Shaw Main Street, Alex Padro, he was in Paris, he and his partner, and they saw what France does. And they actually is 24 hours.
Okay.
Ours, since we're in, ours being the Parks Main Street, so it's the Art All Night, it's the Mayor Muriel Bowser presents Art All Night, hosted by the Parks Main Street.
Okay.
And since we're in a residential area, we go until 10 o'clock at night.
Okay.
But others
it's
around the city, others around the city go to 2, 3 o'clock in the morning,
wow.
like MLK, Shaw, and
2, 3 in the morning.
Yeah.
Okay,
yeah.
That's right. We're talking about doing business and party.
But the whole concept behind it is to make sure that one, you have the creative community. That's the artists,
okay,
the music, the vendors, the makers, and then you have the artists themselves. We always have live artists that are painting what they see. The Main Street, the Parks Main Street. When we purchase or buy their art. We pay them, and then with the stipulation they will donate it back to us, the art, and then we use that as a fundraiser because we still got to get money outside.
Community, that's community development, community interaction. So I'm going to ask 2 questions from that. What is the impact of the Art All Night on the businesses in that community? Because it's just not the brick and mortars. I saw vendors popping up. I think you just talked about the artists painting all. Yeah. What is the impact of an event like that on the business, and then how does it make the people who live in the community feel?
Yeah, well, as mentioned, we don't. The vendors are not charged to participate. That's key. So everything they do is going to be either them getting getting recouped for their supplies. But it's all pure profit for them. So they don't have to take a $50, $100, $200, what some of these events can cost $300 to be able to participate. It's key for us to make sure that those entrepreneurs, they're all entrepreneurs. They don't have a brick and mortar location, but they're entrepreneurs. And so we do what we can to help them. We get them exposure. We use them in make sure that we have other events that they come to. They always want to get involved with what we're doing. But the makers, any of the creatives, and their businesses too. Okay. And sometimes folks try to short shrift artists, like painting artists or performers. They're a business too. They have to operate, and that's where the Greater Washington Urban League comes in through our entrepreneurship center to help them. Those makers that don't have a brick and mortar store. So it's key. And so the other impact that we have in working with these businesses, particularly those that are minority businesses, Latino, but we have Korean business, we have Chinese businesses, we have Mediterranean business owners, we have everybody. That's one of the hallmarks of the Main Street movement, is that it is for everyone. Certainly through the league now, as we're a program, we do some programs that are kind of focused toward black businesses or so. But it's for everybody. The Main Street is for any of the businesses.
Got it. That
are in that corridor.
In the corridor.
Yeah.
So you got to really look at what part of, we got so many people, look at what part of the community you're in, see what Main Street exists, and then each Main Street has its own services and dollars and support, right?
That's right.
So what would you say in this climate? You're saying so many people losing their job and having to go into business. What you've been guiding people for years now. What is that 1 or 2, 3? Like do this, to at least get them started. What would you say, especially in this climate?
Well, there's a few things. One, you have an idea or something that, there's not a lot of new ideas out there for business.
Okay.
And so when you have an idea, you need to connect up with others who have been doing something similar. You may be building upon what has been successful before. Mm-hmm. You may end up building upon something that failed before.
Okay.
It comes down to mentality, ownership, and the fact that you have to have vision and being willing to listen. You know, a lot of small businesses, these entrepreneurs,
are y'all listening? Y'all hear that? What he just said? Say that one more time. Willing. Go ahead.
You have to be willing to listen, because they birth. You know, I understand the passion.
Yes.
At being an entrepreneur, you're birthing. This is your baby.
This is yours. Right.
Nobody else can tell you what you can do with your baby and everything. Right. But folks need to, as I've learned in working with businesses, you have to be open to listening to new ideas, and know that when you're in the mix, you know, business owners and entrepreneurs, they are, you know, you say nose to the grindstone, right?
Yeah.
When you're doing nose to the grindstone, your nose is literally in the grindstone.
Yeah.
So that means that you're not able to see out here. There's no vision going on. You are operating. You're flying the plane.
Yep.
But all this other stuff's going on. So that's where business coaches come in. That is where the Greater Washington Urban League through the Entrepreneurship Center come in. And then those coaches have to be, you know, we're your friend, but we're not, because we're going to tell you what is necessary.
Be a real coach.
We're going to be mentoring you. We're going to be telling you. And if you don't listen, there are others who will listen. Sometimes with businesses, these small businesses, as a Main Street, we have to, you know, we're conducting triage. All right. We're looking at businesses. Okay. Like you look at MASH, that show MASH.
Yeah.
Folks come in. Well, I can't help this one right here because they're on death's bed. This one here, we might could pump them. Or this one here, we got to work with the ones that have the most likelihood of wanting to
get back on the front line.
That's right.
So those who are on the front line and need support, how do they reach you?
They can reach us a couple ways. Through the Parks Main Street email is info@theparks Main Street. My email is ewashington at GWUL. I'm sorry, ewashington at GWUL. And then also we're in the midst of working through our website, specific website, but you can go to gwl.org, look under under events, but also look under what is the hub? Look under the hub.
Yeah, Entrepreneurship Center.
Entrepreneurship Center. Then that is where you will then see a link for the Parks Main Street.
All right, fantastic.
What we do.
So one more time, I think we have some questions. You have a question for Mr. Washington? Anybody have a question?
Yes, Mr. Washington. Do the businesses in your Parks Main Street area ever get volunteers to help them when they're doing community engagement?
Well, thank you for asking that question. Part of the bedrock of a Main Street program is community engagement and volunteers. So a lot of what we do is volunteers. We have a board. We have a community advisory board. Our board now is the Greater Washington Urban League's board, but we have a community advisory board. They're all volunteers. And so, but yes, it is vital. The businesses, we through us as a Main Street help with the volunteers that will go on and help those businesses as well. So yes, it's important.
So one of the things that my niece had to do in graduating from high school was do 75 hours of volunteerism. Mm-hmm. Is there a way that we can tie this volunteer hours that they need to get in order to graduate, so that we can help groups like the Parks Main Street, where they'll go investigate and reach out to the schools to provide opportunities?
Absolutely. We do that on numerous occasions where they have the community service hours that they have to do to graduate. But we also try to make sure that it's an experience that they really learn from, can later on use, especially if they're looking to get into entrepreneurship or business in general. Yeah, so volunteers are key. We do have a way, all the Main Streets, to help these high school students and others that need volunteers hours to graduate. Yes.
Thank you very much.
Thank you for the question. Yeah.
Yeah. Volunteers. So the young people are able to work with some businesses. They get some experience. The businesses are able to get some support. Mm-hmm. So many people are getting into having to go into business, and you see it, right? Mm-hmm. But there are people who are already in business who are thinking about exiting. Mm-hmm. Could the Park Main Street do anything for those who are like, you know what, I want to retire. How do I exit out of this business? What do I do next?
Yeah, there's a few things that we can perhaps do is help them maybe find a buyer. If it will also link them up with folks that can help with succession planning, because a lot of these small businesses are family-oriented, or family-owned businesses. And a lot of times the children don't want to carry it on. The children their first thought may be to just sell it. You know, mom and dad, they were doing this. We showed them, we saw them growing up doing this. We respected them, but I don't want to do all that work. Because when you're an entrepreneur, you're doing everything.
Everything.
You know, you're doing everything, and it's because you have to watch. You have to watch in what organizations like the Greater Washington Urban League, the programs like the Parks Main Street. We help them build structure. We help them get some consistency in what they do. We give them a roadmap. But again, they got to follow it.
I'm glad you said that 4 times. If you got to listen, because if I'm coaching you and you're not hearing, you're not listening, but you also got to trust and make that move to follow. Yeah. So no matter the parks, Main Streets, and Main Streets all across the country, no matter if you got an idea to start a business, if you are an existing business and needed to be connected to resources, be it money, because y'all have money, or volunteers, or just needing somebody to coach you through, connected to some finances as well. But you also help people who are already in business who want to land the plane. That's important, because a lot of times people don't know how to jump out of something. Something's already going.
You know, when these businesses are built upon one person, as it is, say if it's a restaurant, and that chef, he or she is known for what they do, I'll give an example: the DC Hat lady, Vanilla Powell Bean.
Yes,
she started her business and she was like 60 years old. She passed on at 103. Yes. And just a little tidbit that both of her sisters, her older sisters, lived to be over 100 years old too.
Wow. It's in her DNA.
It's something for sure. But the point is that she started her business in her 60s after watching a milliner. She was the elevator operator in that particular building, and watched that. And she had a dream she would go and play with hats to do it. But then the thing is, what I really want to convey is that entrepreneurship is everlasting. It can be sparked at any time.
Anytime, a spark at any time. Well, Brother Washington, I'm really excited about what you're doing and being able to sit here. I don't know about you, but I know that there are hundreds of people out there that need to get connected to you, because this is a time where entrepreneurship is a have to, right? Do you have any words of encouragement that you can share that will motivate businesses to know that this is okay and they can do it? That voice that's in your head, listen to it, connect to Mr. Washington at the Parks Main Street, the Greater Washington Urban League, and jump out there. Any words of encouragement and wisdom?
Just, a lot of this is faith, and not necessarily religious related, but it is. It is faith you have in yourself, faith that you have, and you have to just know that you're not alone. If you get into this, you're not alone, but you have to seek out any kind of assistance. There's all kinds of assistance out here, but you have to seek it out and want to do it, and you got to listen.
Brother, I'm listening. Thank you so much.
Pleasure, Tate. Yes.
All right. Business Wisdom Wednesday is an opportunity for you to learn from one another, for you to listen to business owners and business, because you're a business owner yourself. You was
right.
Yes,
That's right.
yes.
That's right. Sporting
coaches,
goods, everything. Yeah, had a sporting goods company for 6 years that I operated out of my home. Traveled the country doing it. Unbelievable. Yeah, we had sports leagues. We did some sports leagues. Obviously, we provided the trophies and, and the uniforms. But we sponsored some sport league, basketball in particular.
See, you get to learn from somebody who's not just talking about it, someone who's done it. Thank you so much, my brother.
Thank you.
Business Wisdom Wednesday. This is what we all about.